I'm Olu Olamigoke with FloTrack. I'm here with Scott Mellin of Salomon. He is the Global Chief Brand Officer of Salomon. So tell us a little bit more about your mission. We had a great chat even in the 5 minutes it took us to walk over here, but tell us about your mission, what you're intending to achieve with the Golden Trail World Series, what brought you out here.
The Golden Trail is a multi-dimensional project for Salomon. Its foundation is to create an access point for athletes into the world of trail running without the commitment of a 40-hour race. So all of our races are in the 2 to 3 hour full duration zone. And we found over time that by combining historic monuments like Sierre-Zinal and Zagama with new places like Lago di Ledro, we create a really compelling circuit for athletes. We've internationalized the circuit since 2018. You now have races in Japan and China, across the Americas, throughout Europe. But this new short course format, coupled with what we call the flower concept, which is more like US criterium bicycle racing, where the spectators are much more involved in the sport. We found that is kind of the secret sauce for an amazing television partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery. We originally started in 2023 with Eurosport, but after the merger of Warner Brothers and Discovery, we actually got sucked up into a much bigger opportunity with Warner Brothers. And so now we enjoy 25 hours of live broadcast around the world in 96 countries, touching 687 million households, with the whole object now of popularizing trail running. So the initial concept being create access, evolved into making trail running famous at the consumer level. So our partnership with WBD is super important because it gives us reach and scale that we couldn't do ourselves as a mountain sports brand. What's been fascinating is as we launch this revived, renewed, larger partnership with WBD in April in Paris, I made mention that we were going to make a push to get trail running into the Olympics, with really kind of a focal point on Brisbane 32. And now here in Ledro, we're kind of putting our money where our mouth was and making sure that it's a dialogue that involves the consumer, involves the media, involves the athletes, involves other brands. We're just the commercial force behind the idea of trail running becoming a future sport in the Olympics, which I think it deserves. We have, I'll just give you some market share data, which is probably new for most people, but trail running globally is a $4 billion footwear business on a $23 million road footwear business. But we're growing faster. Trail running's growing at a 7.5% CAGR. We have about a 4% CAGR in road running. By 2030, it'll be a $6 billion business, selling almost 20 million pairs of shoes. So we believe right now, these are always hard to size, but we believe right now there's about 33 million trail runners, with the largest contingent being in your home, the US, at 13.5 million trail runners. Out of those 33 million trail runners, there's 2 million racers racing in 5,000 races across the world. So this is a business of scale, right? It's a sport of scale. And what's also cool is the demographic is shifting younger. So we're seeing kind of around the world that social dating apps are not that cool anymore, and run clubs are the new dating app. It's kind of interesting.
It's very interesting. I mean, living in Austin, there's like 3 or 4 different run clubs I'm invited to every week, and then there's a track club. Shout out to Adult Track Club, which we actually read at the track. But yeah, to your point, that it's definitely shifting younger, and I've noticed that a lot of more people my age are more interested in trail. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too when you think about it in the context of sport. It's it's an individual sport, but like cycling, there's a huge team infrastructure behind it. But it's not technically a team sport where you need like huge lodging facilities. We leave a super light footprint on the earth because the trails already exist. Doesn't require a new stadium to be built. And it's in nature, which is where people want to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it leans back into Salomon's purpose. We exist to unleash the best in people through mountain sports.
And you know, I think that's actually a very good point that you brought up about it being in nature and existing for mountain sports. But at the same time, I see how Salomon, and I know this was kind of under your lead, how it's also crossed into underground streetwear.
Oh, yeah.
So now a lot of people just put on the shoes, but when other people who are a little bit more in the know like Salomon, and you're wearing it just on the street, but the point I'm getting at is it blends, you know, the crossover appeal of the sport to an audience that may not even realize it exists. Was that intentional?
It was not intentional. The backstory of what we call Salomon's sports style is that there's a famous boutique retailer in Paris called the Broken Arm, and they called Salomon and said, "Have you noticed how many kids are wearing your vintage trail running shoes?" Of course, in Annecy, we're 5 hours by train away from Paris. Of course, we didn't see it. But what was happening is the urban style-conscious consumer was adopting Salomon trail running shoes, legacy trail running shoes for street. And the interesting backstory is we've actually never made a lifestyle shoe. We make running shoes, and then they get adopted by different cultures and effectively turned into sports style. It's a little bit of a virtuous circle. I am prolific on LinkedIn, and so I take a lot of inquiries from consumers around the world, and probably the most vitriolic has been, "I can't believe Salomon sold out." And what I remind people of is that we've never made anything but trail running shoes. The fashion styles that are adopted today from Salomon are trail running shoes. We've never dumbed them down. And so we've always been a running brand. And by having these two lanes, a fashion lane and a performance lane, we actually unlock a lot of growth in the company. And that margin goes back into R&D to make the next generation of amazing running shoes, like I'm wearing today, the S-Lab Ultra Glide. And so being popular doesn't mean we've sold out. In fact, we will always make performance running shoes because that's what fuels our authenticity. They get adopted by different communities for different uses.
Staying true to it, staying true to the original mission of the company.
Yes.
That's very rare in this landscape we have with footwear.
In reality, what works on the trail works in the city.
Yeah.
And so we don't change the formula.
Right. It's ironic how you stay true to your roots, and it actually finds more compatibility in places you would never imagined.
Yes.
Wow.
Always authentic.
Always
authentic. For me, like, one of the reasons that I came to Salomon, it was one of the few brands that hasn't been messed up. Mm-hmm. Even though it's 78 years old, it had never gone through the dark side of trying to co-opt communities or create a lifestyle business, and we've done some crazy things at Salomon over the years. We were in the surf business. We made rollerblades. We did all kinds of goofy stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a company that's never sold out, and so our ability now to project our authenticity is even more critical and more important as the world gets smaller and we get bigger. Authenticity is a key secret ingredient in our messaging.
Yeah, that's huge. As you say authenticity, do you feel like that's going to be what can lead you to a successful bid for getting trail running into the Olympics in 2032?
I think there's a couple of factors. One is we've been in trail running since day one. The UTMB was originally a bar bet in Chamonix. 6 guys, drunk, who can run around the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc the fastest, which was a famous hiking trail. We were there on the start line with the XA Pro, which had been developed for what at the time was adventure racing. The Raid Galois became the Xterra series, etc. We had made shoes for that activity. So we always came at it from this authentic approach, and I think that having been in the sport now for 25 plus years, we've kind of been the engine behind it. Fast forward to today, we're the first trail running company to put an athlete performance program in place. We have full-time dedicated coaches, strength trainers, nutritionists, physios, helping our team of 40 athletes become the best athletes in the world on the trail. We also have a history with the Olympics. We have created multiple Olympic sports before. Border cross, skier cross came from Salomon. Freeride skiing came from Salomon. Skate skiing in the Nordic disciplines was an outcome of our development of the Salomon Nordic system. And so we've been like integral in advancing sport and modernizing the games. At the same time, we have a relationship with the Milan Cortina Olympic Games. We're the premium partner of the games. We're supplying 27,000 volunteers with kits, technical outerwear, shoes, hats, gloves. It's a way to give back to the games and the spirit of sport and the values that it creates. At the same time, we are also part of a pilot program called Road to the Games, which is led by the World Federation of Sporting Goods Industries, that is allowing Salomon to use our athletes during the games to celebrate the games, not just through podiums, but through the spirit of athletic competition. The pros, the cons, the wins, the losses. We have a before, during, and after program. So I was actually at the IOC on Thursday in Lausanne, speaking to them directly about some of these programs. So I think Salomon's authentic integration into the Olympic movement is super real.
Yeah.
And so we have a nice audience within what I would say is a very large set of actors, from World Athletics to ITRA, Sky Running. We're kind of agnostic, even though we have our own event, which we believe is the correct and right format for an Olympic bid. We're very much a neutral player. We play with all parties.
I feel like those are key components that are going to make this not a matter of if trail running becomes an Olympic sport, but more a matter of when. I mean, you touch on a couple of really key components between the relationships with World Athletics and, the fact that you have Salomon has created Olympic sports before. It seems like the pedigree is already there. So when you do get to Brisbane, notice I say when, what would be the ideal format from your perspective of what that might look like?
Well, again, trail running's, a sport done in nature, doesn't require huge infrastructure. In fact, we're pretty light on the earth. And so we have those components lined up pretty strongly. I do believe that the Golden Trail format is one of the most correct formats. The VK is super cool. We have the world champion Remy Bonnet on Salomon. There's multiple formats. I think for us, we kind of play agnostic. We're very good partners and friends with the UTMB. We've, between Francois Den, Courtney DeWalter, Kilian Jornet won it multiple times. So we play in all formats, but I think that for the modernity of the games, that a 2-hour event is brilliant to watch. With ups, with downs, turns, twists, falls, scrapes, like we were talking about. I do think it's the right form.
I would love to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, this is my first full-blown pure trail event, and
how do you like it?
Man, this is cool. This is cool. It was so cool. I was almost silly enough to jump in and do it myself, as we mentioned off camera.
I wish you had.
But I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to run up a mountain with the camera in your hands because that was really tough. I want to make sure I get the shots as well.
Well, I think you have I think you have the skills as an Olympian triple jumper.
I suppose. You know, and actually, to be honest with you, I think I could do it, but it would not be in they would have finished, and I would still be on the trail for another 2.5 hours. So if there's no time limit and people will wait for me, I think I could do it. But
I just spent a lovely day with Courtney Dawalter
yeah.
in Chamonix this week, where we talked about her last finish at the UTMB, where she was expected to win, but she came in 10th. And it took her an extra set of hours to finish it. And I said, you know, what kind of took you into a space where even though your body completely left the planet, that your head could take you to the finish line? And she said, I wanted to see what it felt like to like dig as deep as I could in the pain cave. That's her way of like mental gymnastics through endurance sport. But then she got real and she said, I didn't want to disappoint my 7-year-old niece that was at the finish line.
There you go. That's what it is. Man, I have a couple coworkers who might feel disappointed when they hear the stories, but maybe if I picture them as 7-year-old nieces, it'll be a little bit better. You mentioned a couple times the UTMB, and I know a little bit about them. They're the organization that puts together the World Championships for trail running. Could you let us know a little bit, for the audience that watches us, who's primarily tuned into track and field and also road running, could you give us a little bit of a brief on what the UTMB is and, you know, how it correlates to, say, World Athletics?
I probably shouldn't be a spokesperson for UTMB, but what I would say is Salomon and the UTMB enjoy a long history together. So we're very friendly with the organizers. Ironman, who's the 50% owner of the UTMB series, are close colleagues with us. We both want to advance the sport of trail running. We're taking the process forward for the Olympic bid, but we're combining on a lot of like really serious issues like anti-doping protocol as an example. And so in a world of multiple actors and 5,000 races around the world, we believe that as the two leaders in the sport that we need to really serve as the beacon on critical topics like doping.
Okay, that's really good to know that, you know, there's already the organization. As we've been saying, there's so many touch points that already exist to make this a successful bid. As we already see, I don't know if I pointed this out, we have a nice sticker. It says, put some rings on it. I love it. I love it in terms of putting rings on the trail running as a sport. So it's nice to know that there's already infrastructure there. Me as a former outsider to now being introduced to the sport, I feel like the Golden Trail World Series has been just, I mean, I don't think you could think of a more picturesque and more welcoming environment to have been brought into the sport.
Oh, that's great to hear.
And yeah, I mean that seriously. And as somebody who, for a little bit of context about my background, I'm gonna just tie this in, I promise. I'm a big Formula One fan. I've been watching for like almost 15 years now, back when the engines used to scream. And I mentioned that because I love cars, I love motor racing, but it's hard for me to watch, say, a World Endurance Championship race. I only can watch the highlights because I can't sit for 6 hours.
Or 24 hours.
Or 24 hours. I mean, even though as an athlete, I have such an admiration for the endurance that it takes to do that. But as a spectator, I can't sit and watch that. But when I came here to Golden Trail World Series, not only did I chase some of these athletes up the trail to watch it myself, but I then came back and watched almost every single minute on the screen back in the village. So Golden Trail has done a really, really good job of making this approachable and accessible for the average fan. Again, I compare it to Formula One because if you want to make someone watch a NASCAR race, it's going to be hard to make someone watch 500 laps, but you can make them watch an hour and a half.
Certainly.
So
Certainly.
I think Golden Trail is already, I'm new, I've only just learned about the series, but I feel like there's already a mark that's been made, and honestly, I see like it could be just the successful path forward is almost like already lit up for you guys.
Well, it's been a super fun project, and we think we have the right formula.
Yeah.
Now we're in this optimization mode, making the quality of the races better, making the quality of the broadcast better, making sure that we expand the reach of the sport to more households around the world. And I, again, in the spirit of authenticity, that's what we do. Like, we honor athletes and we honor sport. And I really fundamentally believe that trail running is Olympic property for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be cool.
I feel like it's a matter of time. Well,
Right on.
it's an honor to be able to speak with you.
Thank you,
To hear the story straight from the founders, and I love hearing how history from something 78 years back still plays forth without watering down in the slightest bit today. So thank you for your time.
Strong values.
Yeah, strong values. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Scott Mellin, everyone.
Cheers.